never gives in under any circumstances whatsoever. He gets his head down and he fights and he fights and he fights until the last. And if he's got the right car, he can win.
Clearly, as a driver, he has phenomenal talent. When I say talent, I really mean the ability to control a car at very high speed. And of course, the head down in charge. He has a lot of aggression in him.
Nigel will go faster than the car. He'll get in there, and whatever the circumstances, Nigel will put 100% plus into it.
We decided as a team in the middle of last year that we needed to do a number of things to make Williams fully competitive in 1991. And we secured the services of a new aerodynamicist, Adrian Newey. And we felt also that we needed a star driver, a true front-rank superstar who could not only drive to the highest possible standards on the track, but motivate everybody at Williams and everybody at Renault. And that's why we went so hard for Nigel.
ナイジェル・マンセルの91年は契約会議によって幕を開けた。マンセルはフェラーリ在籍中にモータースポーツからの引退を表明したが、前言を撤回し F1 への復帰を決めたのだ。彼の選んだチームは名門ウィリアムズ。相性のいい古巣に戻って再出発をすることになった。マンセルは85年ウィリアムズ在籍中に F1 での初優勝を飾り、86年87年と惜しくもチャンピオンタイトルは逃したものの3シーズンで13勝を挙げた。その後フェラーリに移籍したマンセルは90年のイギリスグランプリ直後に引退を表明し、ファンやモータースポーツ界を愕然とさせた。続く3ヶ月間マンセルに好条件のオファーが殺到したが、同年10月ついにウィリアムズチームと契約を結んだのである。プレシーズンに記者会見をするマンセルは自信に満ちリラックスして見えた。
Being a very positive person like I am, we obviously went through the syndrome last year of retiring and not retiring. The reason I'm not retiring is because I'm sitting here and because of a certain gentleman over there and the new design of the FW14 with Patrick Head, of course. The only thing I will say is that I've never seen a factory so motivated. I've never seen mechanics, from engineers to mechanics to managers, directors, even a certain driver, which is not too far away from you, incredibly motivated to get the job done this year. And I think with all that, there's a certain amount of enjoyment which has come back to doing the job which perhaps has been missing for a number of years.
What will being an Englishman in an English team as opposed to an Englishman in an Italian team mean to you in terms of improved working methods? Communication.
Yeah, I mean, that is, you've hit the nail on the head, because it's everything. I didn't realise what I had missed for 2 years in returning to Frank's team, to the Williams team, because there isn't a conversation that's going on around you that you can't eavesdrop on. And you can be part of it, you can actually join in the conversation, you can join in the banter, and more important, there isn't anyone that you can't sort of motivate or watch what instruction's been given to who to make sure that it is the right instruction. All I can tell you is that everyone's got great expectations for the new car. We have to be a little bit conservative and say that because we are running tight schedules, I won't say late, but we're running very tight schedules, we're not going to get much testing in before the first race. I would honestly appeal to everybody not to put us or put Williams or my head on the chopping block for the first couple of races. I would like to have Phoenix and Brazil, shall we say, as wild cards. I think there's no question that we're going to be quick straight out the box. What I will say is that it's to be expected that we're going to have some problems somewhere, because it's a brand new engine, it's a brand new gearbox, and I know I'm repeating myself, and it's a totally different new car. I think time's right. I think I've done my apprenticeship more than ever before. I've had, I wouldn't say any more, but I've had my fair share of heartaches and disappointments, and I think that this year I'm going into the year in the most positive way that I've gone in recent years, because I'm ready.
2週間後の雨混じりの寒い朝、シルバーストーンに世界中のプレスが集まった。彼らの熱望に応え、ウィリアムズのニューマシンがベールを脱ぐ。
Andrew Marriott, you're losing more hair.
フランク・ウィリアムズ、コマーシャルディレクターシェリダン・シン、テクニカルディレクターパトリック・ヘッド。シーズンに向け自信満々だ。 FW14 と従来のマシンの大きな違いは空力面のデザインである。マルチカラーのボディには改良を加えたルノー V 型10気筒エンジンを搭載。またセミオートマギアボックスの実戦投入にも踏み切っていた。2年間のフェラーリ在籍中にマンセルはセミオートマギアボックスの経験を積み、 F1 ドライバーの中では誰よりも精通している。最初の数周はウォームアップに徹する。新しいマシンには微妙な手綱さばきが必要だ。湿った路面がドライバーの仕事をより複雑なものにする。マンセルがマシンのフィーリングをつかんだ後、ピットに入りシステムが正確に作動しているかチェックする。チームとドライバーはマシンの性能を熟知しなければならない。綿密なプロセスを踏むことがチャンピオンタイトルの獲得につながるのだ。マンセルがサーキットでの走行を再開した。 FW14 が風のように疾走する。クラブコーナーでぬかるみにはまったため、ニューマシンのお披露目はあえなく幕を閉じた。FW14 が牽引されて戻ってくる。小さなトラブルはあったものの、スタッフの顔は静かな確信に満ちている。それは彼らだけが知っている確かな手応えだった。
Well, this morning you had a spin. Could you tell us about that a little bit?
Well, it's more down to the track conditions, really. I mean, you've probably taken some footage this morning how bad it was, and with the automatic box, it's a little bit different to the Ferrari one. I changed down a bit too soon, and it locked the rear wheels, and basically just had a nice little spin. And the problem is, as you know, there's been a lot of alterations. We went, I think it was something like about 4 foot off the circuit, but it was like in quicksand. But the quicksand wasn't sand, it was mud, and it just went. So that caused a bit of consternation, but no problems. And since then we've done a long run, and it's been very reliable.
You're really pleased with the gearbox. Does it surprise you that it's gone as smoothly as it has?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a few little glitches now, but I mean, we've made tremendous progress, or should I say Williams have made tremendous progress, because when Ferrari's gearbox came out, we had a job running more than 3 or 4 laps together before there was a problem. So I'm greatly encouraged at how quick we are making the progress which is necessary.
How would you characterise the car as different to the Ferrari you drive?
I wouldn't like to at the moment, because I think until you put slicks on the car and qualifiers on the car and throw it around the corner and throw it around the circuit, you can't really compare. And you know, we are on wet tyres, we haven't run the car in dry conditions yet, so I think we're being a bit premature for us to try and judge anything. What I will say though is that it gives us every indication that it's going to be a good car. What I say to you now, I mean, this day, the 21st of February 1991, let's have reliability this year and we'll pull it off.
1991年はマシンの信頼性が鍵となる。レギュレーションが変わり、全レースがポイントの対象になったからだ。トラブルを防ぎ、常に勝てるマシンを作ること、その上で強力なライバルに真っ向から戦いを挑むのだ。アイルトン・セナは3度目のワールドタイトルを虎視眈々と狙い、ゲルハルト・ベルガーはマクラーレンでの初優勝を目論む。アラン・プロストもオフのテスト走行で好成績をマークしている。フェニックスの市街地コースは未知の部分が多い FW14 にとって試練の場となる。
Phoenix Grand Prix and Senna gets away beautifully on the left. Alain Prost on the right. Watch at the back of the grid. Mansell's coming through well on the left and down Jefferson Avenue into turn one, the right-hander. It's Senna leading. Prost in second place. Then it's Mansell. Patrese. Red 5. Nigel Mansell is being passed by Patrese now. Patrese going on the inside and he's overshot. Patrese has got too much momentum. He couldn't get round the corner. Nigel Mansell has gone through. He didn't hit Patrese. Nigel Mansell from third position in the race. This reminds me of Detroit when Nigel Mansell was driving for Lotus and he pushed his car across the line. Now, for some reason I do not understand, Nigel Mansell is frantically pushing his car backwards. That's the pit lane exit that he's coming up towards. I think he's just trying to get his car out of the way. He's getting a fat lot of help from the marshals, I must say. And so, Ayrton Senna wins at Phoenix.
マシンは2台ともリタイアしたが、素晴らしい戦闘力にウィリアムズは自信を深めた。第2戦はセナの地元、インテルラゴスサーキット。
Senna gets away well, and Mansell is ahead of Riccardo Patrese. And it's half a second now. That is Mansell spinning. Mansell spins, well, that'll give you an indication of how slippery it is. Mansell, he's stopping. Mansell out. Oh! For the second time in 2 races, Nigel Mansell retires in the Williams. Yes, Ayrton Senna achieves his ambition to win the Brazilian Grand Prix.
FW14 は卓越した性能を見せ、マンセルに十分勝機はあったのだ。
Brazil was pretty fantastic, really. We qualified reasonably well, and my teammate was on the front row. I was on the 3rd spot. Got off to a very good start. Excuse me. Chasing very hard in the early part of the race, and it was a good tussle between Ayrton and myself. And I felt very confident of possibly even winning the race, and then again we had the automatic gearbox doing automatic things like changing gear when it wasn't supposed to, and we obviously lost all drive again and we were at the race.
サンマリノグランプリ。イモラにはフェラーリの熱狂的ファンティフォシたちがいる。90年、マンセルはフェラーリチームの一員として熱い声援を浴びた。
And it's go, let's see. Nigel Mansell comes out and slots in front of Gerhard Berger, who is passed by Modena. And into the lead goes Riccardo Patrese. And so now it's Ayrton Senna who is going to have to take a faceful of water. I mean, he's out. Mansell spins. It's happened to Prost, it's happened to Mansell, it's happened to Berger. To cross the line and win the San Marino Grand Prix.
雨に泣かされたレースだった。一方セナは3連勝を果たし、着実にアドバンテージを築く。
At the start, I went away in first gear fine and then tried to call for second gear and third gear and no gears again, load of neutrals, and everybody was tearing past left and right and it was a very uncomfortable situation. And then lo and behold, I think it was again an English driver, Martin Brundle, that decided to try and overtake me in an impossible situation. And just basically broke my rear suspension and burst my rear tyre and I was out of the race. I mean, the whole race for me was a complete joke and very disappointing.
3戦を戦い、FW14 はその将来性を予感させた。しかしマンセルには実力を証明するポイントがない。サンマリノからモナコまでの2週間、ウィリアムズのエンジニアたちはギアボックスの信頼性を確保するために全力投球した。
We knew that the first races were going to be very difficult, although we obviously appeared to be competitive. We did have a major reliability problem. That problem mainly came from the transmission.
モナコはマンセルのお気に入りのコースだ。1991年のチャンピオンシップに名乗りを上げるにはこのコースで何としてもポイントゲットしたい。
78 laps, it's a long, long time, a 2-hour race. Go! And away they go. It's a good start by Stefano Modena. All the rest of them is Senna leading, Modena second, Prix third. Mansell is in fourth position. Mansell is very much a fighter, and how he's fighting now. He sees a chance of second place. This is lap 63.
Could be lining up for a go at the chicane, but that requires some bravery. He is, and Mansell's going down the inside of the chicane, locked his brakes a bit.
Nigel Mansell scoring points for the first time this year by finishing in second place.
セナは開幕4連勝を達成した。マンセルは2位に入り、ついに初のポイントゲット。しかしトップを行くセナとはすでに34ポイントの大差がついていた。コンストラクターズ部門ではウィリアムズが3位に躍進。第5戦カナダグランプリではウィリアムズ勢が久々にフロントローを独占。セナの指定席ポールポジションをパトレーゼが奪い、マンセルは2番手につける。
It's a superb start by the Williams team. Prix and Mansell absolutely together into the first left-hander and then the right. So it's Nigel Mansell leading his teammate Riccardo Patrese with a very sore neck behind him in second place. In third position it's Senna, fourth is Alain Prost, fifth is Berger, sixth is Nelson Piquet. Everybody's got away well and the Williams are on their way. Already there's a bit of a gap. Nothing seems to be deterring Nigel Mansell. He has worked so hard for this. I remember the sensation when he announced that he was retiring from Grand Prix racing after the British Grand Prix last year, and then the other sensation when he said he wasn't retiring after all, he was going to be driving for Williams, and everybody in Britain certainly gave a loud huzzah.
マンセルとパトレーゼは快調に飛ばしていた。最終ラップトップのマンセルが大きくリード。しかしこの最終ラップウィリアムズチームはモーターレースに潜む落とし穴にはまる。それはまるで悪夢だった。
He's taking the hairpin very... He's stopping! Nigel Mansell, just a few hundred yards from the flag on the last lap. He's stopping, he's banging his steering wheel in frustration. Something has happened. It looks as though he's out of the race.
I got the news from the radio that Mansell it's slowing down, and I just had to push again the last lap, but when I saw him, I couldn't believe it. It was very, very good, very lucky.
You must feel a bit sorry for Nigel, though.
Well, I don't feel sorry nobody.
マンセルは確実だった勝利を逃した。唯一の救いはセナもポイントを稼げなかったことだ。
Yeah, I thought, if we're going to make inroads into the championship, we better start winning and winning quickly. And Canada has been good for me before. I've won there before. And we had a great race, really. We did the job in qualifying. We got into the lead virtually straight away. And then we built up best part of a minute in the lead, which was quite extraordinary, really. And then disaster struck on the last corner on the last lap. What can one say except don't want to dwell on it too much because you'll blow your brains out. But the car just stopped, simple as that.
Can you scotch the rumour about you knocking something electrically out that stopped the car?
Yeah, well, I mean, these are the people that, when you've done a fantastic drive and you've done everything that's within your powers to do, they have to, when you've had a disaster, they have to try and kick you when you're down. And they create these malicious rumours that I accidentally knocked an ignition switch off in the car. And those people who say things like that and the people that print them, they are just too pathetic for words.
ロドリゲスサーキット。グリッドの上位をウィリアムズ勢が占めた。コースのレイアウトはハードそのものである。初日セナは高速のペラルタカーブで恐ろしいクラッシュを体験した。
The grid is ready to go and the race is on. It's a good start from the two Williams men. Senna comes sprinting up. It's Prix leading. No, it's Mansell going through.
We went off into the lead and I thought everything was going to plan. We're pulling away a little bit. But then I just couldn't get the car to get up and go on full tanks. And I was having a job to stay in front of Ayrton. And then it was about halfway through they gave me mixture switch 5, which makes another 3-4% richer on the engine. And all of a sudden the engine just started to get up and go.
Fantastic charge, and that's a new lap record, and that is only a tenth of a second slower than Prix' pole position. So Mansell is absolutely flying.
Yes, Prix must win in Mexico, and Ricardo Prix crosses the line to win in Mexico. Nigel Mansell finishes second, so that is a brilliant victory for Williams and for Renault.
パトレーゼとマンセルのワンツーフィニッシュはウィリアムズチームに俄然勢いをつける。最高傑作 FW14 を引っ提げてチームはヨーロッパへ戻った。マニクールは変化に富んだサーキットでドライバーは口を揃えてオーバーテイクポイントがないという。しかしマンセルには常識は通用しなかった。
Nigel Mansell leads the French Grand Prix on lap 22. He has closed from 2.5 seconds to leadership. Terrific!
And making Prost, I'm sure, feel very uncomfortable. The Mansell's trying to get around the outside. He's got in front of Prost around the outside now. That is sensational stuff from Mansell.
Mansell coming home. He's coming down to the last corner now. He really can roll round and win in France now. And Nigel Mansell wins the French Grand Prix at the Nevers circuit at Magny-Cours. Renault have won in France.
In a little bit of shock, it might sound silly after all these years in Formula One, but to get past 16 for an Englishman is history. And I've made history for myself and my country.
91年初勝利でマンセルは通算優勝回数を17とし、母国イギリスの名ドライバースターリング・モスの記録を抜き歴代8位となった。そしてチャンピオンシップのポイントではセナとの差は25となった。ここ数年間イギリスグランプリはマンセルの活躍により熱狂的な盛り上がりを見せている。イギリスの英雄として彼の一挙手一投足はカメラに収められる。マンセルに記録を破られたモスが祝福のメッセージを送る。
What I'm glad of is that the race that he did last week in France, I think he did a terrific race. I think his passing, the way he passed Alain Prost was a superb job, and therefore I'm glad, get him off my back, let him move on to have a go at Jackie and so on. No, quite seriously, I think he deserves it. It's taken a long time. It's now 35 years or something, and I suppose it's time somebody younger came along and got on with it.
F1 界の長老とサーキットの荒法師、イギリスレーシング界のヒーローである。
I just enjoy Silverstone immensely. The crowds, the fans, the people. You're in your own country. I live at Silverstone, as you know, over the Grand Prix weekend, and it's just to use the American term and English really. It's just so outstanding. It's incredible.
1991年のシルバーストーンは大きく変貌していた。大規模な改修工事が行われ、過去の超高速コーナーは姿を消した。代わりに高度で緻密な技術を要求するテクニカルコースとなったのだ。シルバーストーンの週末はマンセルの勝利を期待する異様な熱気に包まれた。あらゆる人々がマンセルに声援を送る。ライバルにとってはかなりの精神的プレッシャーになるだろう。
And that's pole for Ayrton Senna. Pole position for Nigel Mansell, and I really don't think anybody's going to beat that now.
How was a special lap?
It was, I mean, a phenomenal lap from Nigel.
From the start and certainly held the cars on the red alongside as Mansell makes the dive inside Senna and he's taking the lead. So Mansell in the lead already.
Nigel Mansell wins the British Grand Prix for the third time in his career. You don't need me to tell you how happy he is.
セナとの差は18ポイントにまで縮まった。
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, what was so nice is coming off the French Grand Prix, which was very important for Renault, and racing and winning in front of President Mitterrand was a very, very important and great psychological boost for Renault. And I think then coming to my home Grand Prix in Silverstone, I mean, it'd take me 7 races to win. And, you know, it was great. And then Silverstone, as I said, and I'll say it again now, I mean, Silverstone's mine.
マンセルは3連勝を狙ってホッケンハイムに乗り込んだ。一方マクラーレンはシルバーストーンで集中テストを重ねる。 FW14 に敗北し、パフォーマンスの根本的な見直しを迫られていた。
And Mansell's got a flyer, and Berger passes Senna. Gerhard Berger goes up into second place. Senna goes down to third, and now he wins here in Germany. Nigel Mansell wins the German Grand Prix, his third Grand Prix in succession, to get 10 World Championship points.
ドイツグランプリの優勝でマンセルは自己最高の3連勝を飾った。またこの勝利でセナとのポイント差を8とした。コンストラクターズポイントでは1点差でウィリアムズが逆転トップ。マクラーレン陣営に亀裂が生じた。
I mean, Hockenheim was a bonus because we expected to go there and be competitive, but actually end up winning the race and coming away with maximum points was very pleasing.
東ヨーロッパ唯一のグランプリで FW14 はペースダウンをする。そしてマクラーレンはマシンに改良を加え、セナをポールに復活させる。セナはマンセルを封じ込め、再び12ポイントの差を開けた。
Yeah, I think Hungary, we just got to accept the fact that, you know, we came away with 6 points. It was all about qualifying there. We weren't up to speed for whatever reason, and the race was won and lost in the first 5 seconds of the race.
スパのサーキットは一見マンセルと FW14 にとって有利に見えた。
Senna leads, Prost second, Mansell third, Berger fourth.
セナは完璧な体勢でポールポジションを奪った。しかしマンセルは新たな勝利を目指して執念を燃やす。
Compare the time. PK took 9.9 seconds. Mansell has gained 2.5 seconds on his pit stop, and I'm looking to see how it. Now there is PK, and Nigel Mansell rejoins ahead of Jean Alesi, who was in 4th position.
And Senna's passed him as well, and he's slowed right down. He's fumbling around in the cockpit, and what a shame.
セナの6勝はマンセルのタイトルにかける夢を大きく後退させた。しかしマンセルは不屈の精神でチャレンジを続ける。
Yeah, I'd like to pinpoint Belgium especially because it was a fabulous race where we actually took the lead in the pits. It was one of the few races whereby our crew outstripped the McLaren team by far. We had a very quick turnaround and we came out and we passed Ayrton in the pits, so to speak, because we came out on the track in front and then we just pulled away. And everything was working perfectly to plan and I was really happy with the car and engine performing great. And then we had another electrical failure.
イタリアモンツァサーキットはフェラーリの地元である。しかし1991年のレッドマシンは制裁に欠けていた。代わりにティフォシたちはウィリアムズに声援を送る。
Occasion. Yes, he is. Mansell leads in Italy. And I'm going to say that Nigel Mansell has won the Italian Grand Prix. He thinks so. He's waving his hand. He has. Mansell wins and takes the 10 points that goes with it. A magnificent victory. A delighted Williams team.
マンセルはタイトル争いに復活した。18ポイントセナがリードしているものの逆転するチャンスは十分残されている。しかしこれからが正念場であることをマンセルはよく知っていた。 FW14 に代表される F1 マシンの製作はひたむきに働く職人たちの技術と才能に支えられている。オックスフォードシャーの田園にあるウィリアムズグランプリエンジニアリングの本部。F1 レーシングカーの製作はこの工場で一手に賄われている。79年以来ここで製作されたマシンは50回近くの優勝を果たし3度のチャンピオンタイトルをドライバーに与えた。 F1 界の名門中の名門である。3.5 リッタールノーエンジンは88年以来バリー・シャティオンで開発が進められてきた。91年仕様では優に700馬力を超える。 F1 に名乗りを上げた最高傑作にはトップドライバーが必要だった。
I was very much trying to keep contact with Nigel and keep Nigel's enthusiasm for racing, bearing in mind his declared intent to retire. And I sketched into him a bit before it was formally approved the idea that it would be splendid to have him with us in 1991. His extreme competitiveness in all areas and his tremendous urge to win and I think also his impatience of any body or any area of the team activity that is less than totally supportive. I'm a very impatient person myself, and I respect and admire impatience in other people. And I think that's one of his most endearing qualities. And he is not prepared to accept anything less than absolute commitment in every area from everybody. And that's what winning is all about. And I'm not an enthusiast for motor racing. I'm an enthusiast for winning. And it's his passion for winning that I can relate to and which I want to support.
Nigel is headstrong. He likes to have his own way. The aura that he has, of the fans that he has around him, may influence his judgment. But if we have any difficulty, it's spoken about. Nigel's pretty blunt. He comes to the point. I come to the point. Sheraton is very good as a pilot, handling him, if you like. And any engineering matters, which is the nub of the business. Patrick isn't slow in coming forward and saying, you're right, you're wrong, mate. So it's a pretty straight-up relationship.
チームにはレースに備えて万全の準備と対策が要求される。驚くほどの重労働だ。グリッドに姿を現す FW14 は巨大な資本とスタッフたちの献身的な努力に支えられている。また外部のサプライヤーたちの力に負うところも大きい。 進行中の軍隊のようにポルトガルのバトルに向けスタッフがマシンを積み込む。マシンは南へ向けて出発した。一方チームのエースドライバーは妻のロザンヌと共にプライベートジェットでリスボンに向かう。
If I didn't have this splendid ship, the airplane that is, I wouldn't be able to do my job anymore, mainly because logistics are such that you couldn't get scheduled flights to fly to and from where we need to get to in the time span that we have. The other important thing is minimising the amount of hassle that we have. And even this morning, I mean, you haven't heard, but I should tell you now, we've had a 2-hour delay this morning just on slot times flying down to Lisbon. But in a nutshell, I wouldn't say it helps me prepare, but it gives me a little bit of freedom since Spa. Every race has become mega important because we had that setback in Spa where while we were leading we didn't finish, and Ayrton got that extra 10 points, which made a big problem in the championship for me. From the standpoint, he's just got a lot of points ahead now. Monza was absolutely critical from the point of view of staying in the championship race. We just had to win and we had to beat Ayrton, which we did, but unfortunately he did a great job in coming second and getting another 6 points. But I mean, this race we're going to this weekend, Estoril, is more critical now than what Monza was, because if we want to stay in the championship race, which of course I think we all want to do, it just means that we've not only got to beat him, but to be realistic, we've got to try and win again this weekend. So it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the team and the engineers, and especially myself too, to get the job done. And I've now won 17 races with them, which I'm very, very proud of. And we've just gelled more so this time now, this last few months, than we did even with the 4 years I was with them before. We believe in each other far more, and the personnel and the mechanics, engineers, everybody back at the factory, machinists, you name them, who work at Williams, everybody's pulling in one direction, and I think it's the most complete team I've ever seen in the pit lane and actually worked for in Formula One or in motor racing, period.
グリッドについてからスタートまでの間、彼が考えることは。
Well, I mean, the most important thing is make sure the car's in gear, make sure that you've selected the right gear too, especially when you have an automatic box. Yes, we don't have any feel or sensation with a gear lever. We just have a printout on the dashboard with a light with a number that comes up that says that you're in first, second, third or sixth or whatever it is. So that's very, very important. The other thing is to concentrate very hard. When I'm looking at you now, I mustn't blink my eyes for at least sort of 20 seconds. They are, just blink them. If you blink them when the red light comes on and then it goes off, you're that split second slower starting. So you got to concentrate like crazy to just stare at those lights, and when that red light goes out, you've gone. But don't go too quick, otherwise you get a minute penalty. So you're concentrating pretty hard. Estoril's a great racing circuit. It's a driver's circuit. Very, very fast, very demanding, a little bit bumpy. Tremendous grueling corners. I mean, very, very physical on 2 corners there. A lot of G-loading. The car's got to be right. If the car isn't right, you're in big trouble. And in one word, we've got to go and get the job done this weekend.
Well, 6 November, mind clear to land on that my 03 with the 3 past diretta. Confirm our stand, please, just for the table phone. The table phone out of setting. So 1.
That wasn't a bad landing, was it?
155 pushback and start up approved. Number 1.
この日、リスボン空港のエプロンにはエグゼクティブジェットが並ぶ。エストリルで戦う F1 ドライバーたちの専用機だ。マンセルに続いてフランク・ウィリアムズが到着した。 このポルトガルグランプリはマンセルにとってチャンピオンシップの要となる。勝つ以外に道はなかった。目前に迫るグランプリの重圧から逃れ、マンセルは大好きなゴルフで一時の安らぎを得る。
Tomorrow's a very, very important day because the weather looks like it's going to be changing. And if we can, we want to be on the front row tomorrow, ready for the race on Sunday, because Ayrton's going to be pushing very, very hard this weekend. And, it goes without saying that I will too, but Ferrari's got to try and do something quickly because they're falling by the wayside. So Alan and John O'Lacey will be pushing very hard. And, of course, Ricardo, my teammate, who's, I think, surprised a lot of people this year. I don't think it surprised me, but he's turning in some real good times in qualifying.
予選2日目、マンセルはノーマルルーティンでタイムを記録し、他のドライバーの成績を待っていた。伏兵は思わぬところから出現した。残り5分という時にパトレーゼのレギュラーマシーンにトラブルが起こる。やむなくマンセルの T カーンが使われることになり、パトレーゼに合わせて直ちにセッティングし直された。そして彼はスーパーラップを決め、ポールポジションを奪ったのだ。マンセルはゴルフコースでフラストレーションを発散させる。
Motor racing is full of surprises, but if I'm showing my disappointment, it's because I am. Because it's got to be said, my teammate did an absolutely outstanding job today, a fantastic job. But he took the T car, which I was advised the better engine was in the other car. And I can't say too much because it's a very political situation we find ourselves in with a new engine which is supposed to be better. And I think in time it will be better. But, the great thing is that we're racing the RS3, although I shouldn't be telling you that, but by this program comes out, it will probably be okay to let you know. But there is some intrigue with the engines at the moment, and they will get it right. And the great thing is we'll have the right engine in the car for tomorrow, and we'll be very competitive. But the reason I'm disappointed is not because my teammate's on pole, although it would have been nice to do it the other way around. It's because I'm in fourth. And the McLaren splits Ricardo and myself, and needless to say, Gerhard's not going to make my life easy tomorrow, and Ayrton obviously is not going to make it even harder. So it's a heck of a situation for me, and one that we've been in similar before, but I'm not relishing exactly tomorrow. I'm going back to the circuit now as I finish talking with yourself, and I'm going to eat at the circuit tonight. I'm going to stay with the team and my engineer until the car is completely finished, so that I know that the settings we have on the car are going to be exactly as I want for the morning. We're going to have a game plan on tyres. We've got about 3 or 4 sets of tyres we want to run through tomorrow. We've got different aerodynamic settings which are vital for the race tomorrow. The reason they're so vital is as simple as this: I've got to overtake people down the straight. You can't overtake people down the straight if you're not as quick as them down it. So I might possibly have to run less wing than other people tomorrow to be quick down the straight. The only trouble there is that although you're quick down the straight, you might be slow around certain corners, so you're trading off all the time. I wish it was easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But
決勝当日、ウィリアムズのメカニックの仕事は夜明けとともに始まった。
Well, it's race day, of course. Everybody's, I would have to say, very calm and very professional in what they're doing. There's an atmosphere of, obviously, of expectation, and we're all trying to think of the various things that may or may not go wrong and that we can prevent happening prior to the event. It's a time when we've put a lot of work in, because Thursday, Friday, Saturday have been long days for everybody in the team, and now Sunday's coming. And to some extent, Sunday will take care of itself, but we have to make sure we minimise all potential for problems.
Ricardo was on pole, Nigel is in fourth place. Ergo, 2 cars to get by. These 2 cars will make it extremely difficult. Some strategies will apply. A number of non-discussable scenarios are possible, and we will try and come up with answers to accommodate those situations. But we are certain of Ricardo's total cooperation to assist Nigel in winning the race, if he's in a position to do so, and of course winning the championship from this race onwards.
It's difficult to practice wheel changing, and Sunday's a good time to do it because the car is there ready to be used, and we've got all the crew there, and we practice nose changes, wheel changes, and we practice wheel changes with the guns going down as well. In fact, all 4 guns going down was one practice we did, which was quite interesting. So again, we're just trying to cover every eventuality. Morale's terrific. The guys are fantastic. I look down the pit lane, and it's difficult to see a better team out there in terms of better people and better morale and better individuals. They're a fantastic bunch of guys.
Today will be what will be. Come on out. We can only do the best job we can.
マシンがグリッドにつく。
Prix. Mansell in third position ahead of Senna, but Senna's got the inside line and he takes it as they go into turn 1. Let's have a look and see what's happening. Mansell goes through to second place. Mansell is now 8.5 seconds ahead and he looks as though he's in the lead. Nigel Mansell has taken the lead.
As Mansell goes for his tar stop. So, critical time, no hurry for the Williams team, just essential to have no errors, nothing stuck on and just get him turned round. 10 seconds would do nicely, there is not a hurry on this one. And that's absolutely fine. I did say 10 seconds would do. Do not make any mistakes, and it sounds like that is terribly bad luck for Nigel.
その後、失格が言い渡されるまでの20周、マンセルは17位から6位へと驚異的な巻き返しを図った。
And maybe we've got a black flag here. Now here is a black flag. What we need to see is the number of the car, number 5, and that is Mansell being black flagged.
Mansell coming in, and I fear that Mansell must have given up now. This is a very, very sad ending to a superb drive. And Riccardo Prix enters the start and finish straight and crosses the line to win the Portuguese Grand Prix.
トラブルに遭遇し、素直に優勝を喜べないウィリアムズチーム。セナは24ポイントもリードし、チャンピオンシップに王手をかける。
I said that it was going to be a tough race, and the first 5 seconds were going to be crucial. And that's because I've made up my mind that the easiest way to overtake anybody at this circuit is on the start. We get the jump. And I mean, everything went to plan, although I do believe that Ayrton questioned my manoeuvre, which is a bit of a shame because I've seen him do far worse. I mean, and, you know, it couldn't have been better, could it? I mean, in second place behind my teammate, and I was sitting there conserving my tyres. And then we were pulling away a little bit, and then I started to push my teammate a little bit harder, and basically then he decided, oh, okay, I better pull over, and I blew past him, and then I pulled out a little bit of a lead, ready for the pit stop. And then I think, you know, people best judge for themselves exactly what happened, because I'm still in a little bit of shock, because it's a fairly routine situation. What can I say, really? This is the day after, the morning after. It's only just after 9 o'clock in the morning. I didn't sleep too good last night. People are going to say, well, who are you going to blame? Well, I can tell you, smiling, I'm not going to blame anybody. I think it's one of these times that you got to look into the camera and grin and bear it and say, we're a great team, we're all together, and we'll stick with one another. And I feel terrible frustration and disappointment, I won't deny that, but my heart goes out to the people involved yesterday, because I know how they feel, and I know they share how I feel, so I'm not pointing the finger. I should just say, you know, let's do a little bit better next time.
バルセロナ、大方の不利な予想にもかかわらず、マンセルは果敢に挑戦した。
Senna hasn't come for tyres now. He's got Mansell climbing all over him. He has no reason to stay out. I think the tactic should have been for Senna to go for tyres. It's going to be too late. Wheel to wheel stuff. Look at this. They're almost touching. Mansell gets in there. And Senna back on the inside.
And meantime, that's Senna spinning. Senna spins and is nearly collected.
As Mansell goes to the inside. And wheel-to-wheel stuff, and Mansell got it. And Berger really seemed to hang on to that one for a long time. May have been lost a bit less time if he'd let it go. But Mansell takes the lead, and Schumacher is right with him.
And out goes the checkered flag, and Nigel Mansell wins in Spain. Magnificent.
マンセルの不屈の精神がチャンピオンの決定を阻み、鈴鹿へかすかな望みをつないだ。ポイント差は16。コンストラクターズポイントではウィリアムズが1点リード、残すはあと2戦のみだ。
Spain, oh, what a weekend. I was accused of being a triathlete that weekend, playing football, boxing, and winning a race. So it was a bit of a funny weekend, really. But knuckles are just, you know, they're all right now.
チャンピオン争いの行方を一目見ようと、鈴鹿は熱狂的なファンであふれた。マンセルに残された道は優勝をもぎ取ることだけだ。
We can't go anywhere, we can't do anything. Actually operating and trying to do our job is very, very difficult at times. But that's sort of the downside. But the upside is, I mean, they are fantastic fans. Yeah, I'm very tired. I mean, I'll raise my game tomorrow when I have to, but I mean, I'm on antibiotics again, and it's just been a tough year. And I mean, coming here and working and the pressure and everything, it just tends to drain you a little bit.
Berger gets away well, Senna gets away well, Prix challenging, and it is Berger, Senna, Mansell in third position. They're round. Mansell harrying Ayrton Senna, and off that Mansell, that's him. Mansell out, and the World Championship has been won by Ayrton Senna, and ironically, with a very, very sad Frank Williams looking at the pit lane, Nigel Mansell has gone off in despair at the very corner that claimed Prost and Senna last year. Well, Mansell tried hard, but he is out of the World Championship.
I was just relieved to be able to walk away from a 200-mile-an-hour, shunt, basically, because deceleration in that gravel sideways, I was worried that the car might flip. And I went into that corner, I had no deceleration at all from the brakes by the time that I was running off the circuit. And I mean, that worried me a lot. So it was relief from the point of view of being out of the car and in one piece and, you know, everything working. And then I'd say that, look, you know, the championship was over in Japan, but it was not lost in Japan. And you must remember there's a big significant difference. You know, the mathematical opportunity of winning the championship went away in Japan, but the championship was not lost in Japan. It was lost at the beginning of the year. It was lost for two reasons. One, the rule changes went from 11 races counting for the championship to all 16 races. So that made it a reliability championship as much as a speed championship. But our problem at the beginning of the year, both for Ricardo and myself, was reliability. I mean, we didn't finish any races for the first 3 or 4. I mean, there's Ayrton got 40 points up on the board, and I got my first points, which was second in Monte Carlo, and I was 34 points before we even started.
1991年、最後のグランプリが始まる。当日のコンディションは最悪だったが、コンストラクターズタイトルが未決ということもあり、討議を重ねた末、レースはスタートした。
Senna leads Mansell by the gap that you can see. What about Mansell? He's going for it. He's right up alongside, and that's possibly the reason that's the Jack Brabham Straight. Nigel Mansell has spun out of the Australian Grand Prix. Stop the race, he's saying.
Red flag is out, red flag out. Red flag on the start-finish line, so the race has been stopped.
Nigel Mansell being helped into the medical wagon. A deflating end to a superb year of World Championship Grand Prix racing.
マリアにクラッシュしたものの、マンセルは2位に入った。1991年、激動のシーズンはあっけなく幕を閉じた。14週、史上最短のグランプリである。ドライバーズチャンピオンシップはマンセルが執念の2位。コンストラクターズでもウィリアムズ・ルノーが2位に入り、マクラーレンの独走に強烈な挑戦状を叩きつけた。
Well, I have to say that I didn't sit down at the beginning of the year and say, right, I think we might win 6 or 8. That's fine, the sky as far as I'm concerned. I'm very happily surprised with the performance, almost indeed the superior performance most of the time, of the car that Patrick and Adrian Newey have come up with. This is a certain outstanding motor car, and that makes life easy. The engine's extremely competitive. I'm happily surprised, but I did not sit down with anybody else in India and say, well, these are our targets, but how we achieve them, only time will tell.
I think it's one of the best years I've had, and I think the reason for that, and the reason I can sit here and sort of even smile a little bit, is that I came back for the right reasons. Williams offered me a package to try and go for the championship, and I think we've proved to the world that we stayed in Formula One motor racing to try and achieve exactly that. And that's why I don't reproach any particular sponsor or manufacturer or any team member, because Williams' team is a fantastic team, because they are a team. Everybody pulls together. And I think what Renault has tried to do, and Alf and the Williams team this year, has been magnificent. And I think no one should even sort of look at any kind of negative situation this year. They should actually give a lot of praise to the Williams team and Renault, because without them this year, it would have been one hell of a boring championship. I can only apologise that we didn't crack it this year, but you watch the Williams team in 1992, because you never know, next year should be the year.
1991年の F1 グランプリは一人の男によって白熱した戦いとなった。序盤で34ポイントも離されながら、マンセルが見せた驚異の巻き返しはまさにドラマだった。そして F1 での優勝の重みを教えてくれたのも彼である。91年5勝を挙げたマンセル、地元シルバーストーンでは感涙に無線だ。ライバルマクラーレンに挑戦状を叩きつけ、取れたはずの3勝を逃しても敗北を否定し、追撃をやめなかった。そしてタイトル争いを日本グランプリまで持ち込み、世界中のモータースポーツファンをテレビの前に釘付けにした。ワールドチャンピオンという悲願達成のためひたすら突き進んだのだ。1992年、マシンはさらに進化を遂げ、テクノロジーの差が勝敗を決するシーンも生まれるだろう。しかし不屈の戦士マンセルがいる限り、92年はもっと素敵になる。そしてきっと